What's going on, y'all? It's your girl, Nephew Raps. It's the vibe session, y'all, right here on Major Zone Radio. Listen, y'all, we always promise to bring y'all some of the hottest artists that are out here doing it on their own, getting it out the mud. And listen, y'all, I'm so excited. We have a very special guest on the show today.
Yeah.
Moses Uvere, what's up? Welcome to the vibe session.
Yeah. Thank you so much for letting
Yes,
me be
sir.
on. I'm a huge fan of you, honestly. Like, I do believe in what you're doing, and it's just beautiful what you're doing for the culture, for Black culture. It's just beautiful. So I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. I just love talking to y'all, man, and just getting your stories. And it inspires me, honestly, to be able to connect with so many different people that are out here doing great things. So enough about me. We here to learn all about Moses today. Okay. So for those that may not be familiar, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Yeah. So a little bit about who I am is I'm first and foremost I'm a believer in God. I believe in Jesus. I'm his child. I look just like him. And secondly is I'm a husband. I'm a father of three. I'm a son. I'm the oldest of six. I'm an uncle. I got like 6 or 7 nieces,
Oh, wow.
nephews. Um, yeah, I'm a creative, so I do all things creative. I'm a coach. I'm a pastor. And I'm a communicator. You know what I'm saying? I tell stories and I speak in front of crowds and things like that. And I feel like those three things is kind of sums up a little bit of who I am and what I do. But more specifically, I'm a hip hop artist. I represent Black culture. I represent Black people. I represent godly people. I represent broken people, and I try to express that through my music. I try to. I just believe wholeheartedly, like I'm crazy enough to write a song that could change the world. So that's me.
Wow. Wow. It's so much to unpack there. I'm like, you're a man of many hats, many talents. So we gotta break all of that down and get into it. Okay. But some highlights, of course, family man, okay,
Yeah.
pastor, coach. What we coaching? What we coaching? Is it life coach? You do sports? Where we going with the coaching?
Yeah, with the coaching specifically, I just help. I really work with a lot of families. So I work with like
Okay.
fathers, mothers, uncles, and daughters, sons to kind of reconcile their relationships with their family members. So I spend a lot of time in those spaces.
Okay.
So me and my wife will coach up married couples if they want to improve their marriage. I work with husbands that want to improve how they can love their wives better. And look, I'm not saying I'm the best at this. I can grow every day in loving my woman better, but I just share with what I know and try to invite people to have a conversation with me to explore how we can grow together. And yeah, I help wives, be better with their daughters and their sons. And I just try to offer perspective. So I do a lot of coaching in the family space, but I also do a lot of coaching for rappers because I'm
Okay.
100% independent rapper. And so recently I just dropped the album that went #1 on iTunes. And so I offer people a strategy and a pathway on how to get there and how to make their own money rapping. I've had to pay taxes. I legitimately have made money and still making money on rap. I am a professional rapper. So like, I help independents learn how to stay independent and how to diversify their money and how to not need a label, but to position themselves to if they want, they could get one. So those are the two
Okay.
areas I do coaching.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And yes, times are changing, right?
Mhm.
Artists, you don't always need the label. And listen, not saying I'm anti-label, I got
Right.
to make that clear. But, we live in a different era now. We have so many different tools. But I love that. I love that you really put your passion into helping other people. So let's say somebody wants some coaching from you.
Yeah.
Where can we go? Is there a place we can sign up? What's this process if we need a little help, we need a little direction?
Yeah, I mean, everything I do is really organic and it's just simple. I have a simple email. You just reach out to me via email, which is booking@mosesuvere.com. You send me an email and just say, hey, I want to be a better husband. Show me. Hey, I want to be a better rapper and learn the business side and learn how to entrepreneur in my raps? Can you show me? It's just that simple. And then from there, I ask a series of questions to kind of figure out exactly where that artist or that spouse or that son or daughter is at. And then from there, I start to just give action steps and plans. I try to develop those plans according to where they at. I know a lot of people will say, well, I want to be as big as Jay-Z, or I want to be as big as whoever. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people are not realizing that there's levels to every single step, that even within the biggest artists in the world, like Drake's at a level that, let me think, I don't know. Drake's at a level that like Tech Nine isn't. You know what I'm saying? Like Tech Nine is at a level that Drake isn't. And I try to help artists kind of hone in on where they really want to go in terms of their music, their sound, and how they want to make their money doing it. So yeah, it's just simple. Send me an email and we can get it cracking.
Okay. All right, y'all. If y'all need that work, listen. This the guy you need to talk to right here, okay?
Right here. I just saw like I said, my album just dropped. It went number 1 on iTunes. I don't want to.
Yes, sir. Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you. So look, it's living proof that what we doing is working out here. So
absolutely. Yeah. I love that. Big energy. Okay. So like, when did you know like your purpose was to do exactly what you're doing now? Like, at what point in your journey did you kind of start walking into that?
Yeah, for me, that's a great question with that word purpose. It was something I love to do. That was where it started from. Like, I never needed to make money rapping. I never needed to make money writing lyrics. Mm-hmm. I never needed to make money being in the studio. It was until somebody handed me a check that I knew it was real. And so it started in that place, was just, I loved the art. I love being creative. I love designing songs. And from there, I needed to make some critical decisions about my life. I needed to decide, like, am I going to go further in college, or am I going to go get a job? And I started to see that my passion for making music and my excitement and my love for it began to intersect and compete too much with like the necessity to pay my bills and the necessity to create a life for myself. So to be honest, what clarified it for me was praying. So I gave my life over to God when I was like 21. I had a dramatic, very tragic experience that kind of happened that, you know, scared me into saying, okay, maybe I need to go see if God is real. Mm-hmm. And in that time, I was writing music and doing it for fun, but I came to a point where I needed to decide, am I going to do music for real? Because I had somebody approach me that was a manager that was like, hey, you got talent, and I think I can help take you to the next level. And he was a dude that was in the music industry, making money in the industry. And so when he told me next level, his job was to get me paid to write my songs. And so that was powerful for me. And it was in prayer. I just sat and prayed. I fasted and was like, God, like, am I supposed to do this? And it got clear for me that this was my path. I knew it was going to be for a season. I didn't know how long it was going to be, but that season's gone on for a little while now, you know what I'm saying? But it was clear to me that I heard from God that I was supposed to do it. And then I started making music and started seeing that, oh man, people are like living their life to my songs. People are getting married to my songs. People are celebrating the best moments of their lives to my songs. And I started seeing like, man, my songs are bringing hope and healing and love and peace and vulnerability. I started seeing the songs intersect with people's lives in such a healthy, nurturing way. And that became my purpose. Is like, man, I want to be able to help people be better people. And I want to create environments and spaces where people can be better people. I want to be able to create music that can infiltrate your mind and make you better. I want to teach and aspire people to be better. So it all comes from me seeing the songs connecting and realizing like, oh, it isn't just about me making songs. It's about having these songs create a lasting impact to improve people's lives.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. I love that. I love that people can go to the music for inspiration because we're kind of in that space. We need a lot of that right now. And we're going to get into some of that in a few. But I wanted to ask you if you felt comfortable sharing what that life-changing situation was for you that happened when you were younger that kind of turned you towards God and kind of changed your life a little bit?
Yeah, so I grew up going to church. I mean, I'm from Texas. I'm from Dallas. Everybody I know, you know what I'm
Shout out to
saying?
D. Yes.
Yeah, everybody that I know goes to church, man. They either
Mhm.
their aunties made them go or their grandmamas. Everybody I know went to church or goes to church. You know what I'm saying? And so that was just part of the culture living out
Mhm.
here and being here is just you gonna go to church, you're gonna be with your family on Sundays.
Mhm.
So as I was going, it just was more social for me. I was able to see some of my friends. We was able to eat, play video games, and kick it while we were there. Um, but I started making these relationships with people, but we were still kind of doing our thing, like in
Mhm.
the middle of the week. You know what I'm saying? And so one of my very good friends, we was kind of out here doing our thing that we shouldn't have been doing, and I had to go home because my dad was very strict, and I left when they was out there doing some things they should have been doing. And then my friend ended up going out and staying late. And he calls me the next morning saying, man, we got in real trouble. We got in some major trouble. He was like, I don't know if we're going to make it out of this one. And I was like, we? I was like, I was at the house, bro. What y'all doing? Don't
Not
move.
me.
I was like, we? I was like, hold
Yes.
on, man. And so then they ended up participating in some criminal activity, ended up
Mhm.
getting on the news. I ended up getting interviewed. They was asking me all these questions, and they ended up doing some time for it. And I saw that God's mercy was on me because I was with them, hanging out.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And no, I didn't do nothing, but a couple of people that were with them also got in trouble, and they didn't do nothing.
Mhm.
And it was the wake up call that I needed to realize, like, okay, where's my life headed to? What do I need to
Mhm.
be spending my time doing?
Mhm.
I'm not trying to throw my life away. And I saw my mind and my actions kind of like floating further away from doing the right things. I was just trying to do my kind of things. And so basically, one of my partners just basically having to sit down for a minute was what woke me up to say, all right, I need to do better for my life. And I wanted to also, when they eventually got out, I wanted to be able to say, bro, look, this is where I'm at now. Like, come be a part of this. I got you. I wanted to set them up too. And so I didn't feel like I had the strength on my own to do it. So I feel like I had to go to God to help me get there.
Okay. All right. All right. I'm glad you shared that, man. I'm telling you, sometimes, we can connect with these stories and really tap into how that made you who you are today. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, with that, to flash forward, I want to know if you've ever kind of faced any like adversity or backlash kind of doing hip hop in the church, right? Because now it's
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
a thing, and it's becoming much more accepted, and there are
Yeah.
artists doing it like Lecrae, and it's a few other people that are really making great music. But have you personally ever faced like any adversity about the kind of music that you make?
Yeah. I wasn't, it's crazy because when I started making music, I only wrote songs about my life. I wrote about how I was feeling. I wrote like if I liked this girl. I just wrote about my life. That's all I knew.
Mm-hmm.
So my partner gets popped. He ends up doing time. I'm writing about that. At the same time, I go to God for healing and hope. And I'm experiencing this like beautiful connection with God. And I'm like, man, I want to tell people about this. It was real to me. Like I prayed, something happened to me. I'm feeling this peace and this joy I've never felt before. I just started writing those songs. I didn't know at the time what I was making was in this genre of gospel music or Christian rap. I was just writing from my life. I write these songs, I put it out, and then churches start asking me to come. And they start telling me to share the story I just told you about how I came to know God. I started to realize very quickly, like, that isn't a story that some Christian people early on wanted to hear. They didn't want to hear about your homie getting popped and having to sit down, and they didn't want to hear all that coming into it. But there was this community of kids and like families and people that were like, yo, you saying things that I need to hear. And my fan base began to grow. And it began to grow outside of the church, honestly. So a lot of my fans don't even know I'm a quote unquote gospel Christian rapper. They just like, man, he a rapper and he go hard. So
Okay.
I've done shows with 2 Chainz. I've done shows with Paul Wall. I've done shows with Trey Songz. These people and these promoters that booked me for those things, they didn't know. They didn't know that I had these beliefs and these values. And so going into those spaces, Christian people in the churches were like, yo, you can't go rap over there in those bars and then come over here with the same songs doing the same thing. They thought I was kind of trying to double dip. And I was like, no, I just made the music. These are the people that came to me. I didn't go looking for Trey Songz and his people. They came looking for me. I didn't go looking for 2 Chainz and their people. They came looking for me. And it was a challenge at first because I was getting so much ridicule from those people. I would say things like, man, there's haters blocking my blessings. I would say things like that in my raps. And they'd be like, why are you talking about haters? You know, you're not Jay-Z. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, they out there, man.
I'm telling you, they everywhere.
And so it was a challenge at first to navigate that. But people began to just know my heart and know my character. And I'm like, yo, my songs are going to talk about this. Absolutely. But you only getting a snapshot of my life in 2 to 3 minutes. Come live life with me. Come see what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. Come see how I'm loving my people and putting on for them. And tell me I'm not authentically a Christian. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was a big deal that people were just questioning my authenticity and being like, man, you're not real. You don't belong here because you're participating in these like quote unquote worldly things. But the more I learned about the Bible, the more I learned like all of it belongs to God. All of it's sacred. You know what I'm saying? The stripper twerking down a stripper pole, like the pole was designed by somebody in their mind. Mm-hmm. That person belongs to God. And that female doing that dance, she belongs to God. So I don't play with things that belong to God. It's just that simple. I'm not going to talk down on them. I'm going to call it all sacred. Now, there's just some things that ain't meant for me. You know what I'm saying? There's things that just ain't meant for me. You know what I'm saying? It ain't meant for me to be in a strip club. You know what I'm saying? But maybe some people can be there. I don't know. Like, God is big. You know what I'm saying? And I don't try to limit him by trying to put names and labels and judgments on people. So, so to answer your question, that was it. Like, it was challenging.
Hey, that's a good message right there. Because I heard Jesus was kicking it with like the regular people. You know, that's word on the street from what I heard. You know,
it's true.
So okay, cool. Okay, so I also heard that you had somewhat of a battle with COVID.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit about your whole journey with that.
Yeah, that was a real journey, to be honest. Like, man, that was a real journey. So I dropped my album in the last week of August. It goes number 1. Me and all my family and my listeners, we going crazy. We're like, what the heck? So then I've been building these relationships with the city of Garland for several years. That's where I'm originally from. It's from Garland. And we live here now, me and my wife and my kids. We've been building relationships, doing these community events. And so they saw that my album went number 1. And so one of the city departments calls me and is like, yo, like, let us celebrate you. This is a big deal that a Garland native put out an album that went number 1. And I was like, okay, what y'all thinking? And so the city of Garland partnered with me to host a massive album release party. And they spent thousands of dollars promoting it. They got it on Dallas Morning News. They got it on all these places and articles, just promoting it, encouraging people to come and celebrate with the city because this independent artist went number 1. So I do this party, well over 200 people show up. It was an amazing time. And that happened on Sunday. Then Monday hits and I made a sandwich at the house and I was like, man, I couldn't taste it. Like I took a bite of that sandwich and was like, man, this tastes weird. And after the show, I mean, I've been doing performances for years. And after the show, I was feeling extra tired. Now, I know I hadn't done a show in a while because of COVID. So I thought maybe I'm just a little out of shape. You know what I'm saying? And so Monday, Tuesday go by. Thursday, I start to feel really bad. I go get a rapid COVID test. The test is negative. They say I ain't got COVID on the test. Then Saturday hits and I'm feeling really bad. I'm feeling like something I've never felt before. At this point, I'm calling my sister. My sister's a nurse out in Houston. She's coming in because she's like swearing up and down. What I told her was like, you got COVID, bro. You need to get to the hospital. I was like, no, I don't. I was like, I just took a test. I'm good. So I go back to that place, take another test, negative COVID results.
Wow.
I was like, man, I'm sick. Y'all need to help me. So I spent some money and I'm like, check me, like make sure I'm good. They do a full on physical and they tell me you just got really bad sinuses. That's what they said. You got really bad sinuses. So they sent me home. I get home, my oxygen starts to get low. My sister gets here. They eventually take me to the hospital. But then my oxygen got dangerously low. And I was on oxygen for like a week, maybe 2 weeks.
Wow.
And so then so I had to get the COVID, the antibodies. I got the antibodies in me. So I did a blood transfusion. I had to do another procedure where it was called remdesivir, where they had to basically put another kind of medicine in my body through a transfusion.
Wow.
And then I got sepsis, which is like this infection that's in your blood. Mm-hmm. And so they had to treat that. So I was on all these steroids. My blood sugar was shooting up high. It was crazy for a moment. They were like, man, my oxygen dropped, I think, as lowest to like 30%. You're supposed to be at 100. You know what I'm saying? So they were like one step away from putting me on the ventilator, but then it just turned around big time.
Wow.
And so after I got healed up, I couldn't walk. Like my brain was so foggy, I couldn't remember how to walk. I couldn't tie my shoes. So they sent me to a rehab center to where they had me doing these exercises. They had me like doing walks. And I could not go to the bathroom by myself. I had to use a walker to like walk to the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? And I played sports. I run around with my kids. I went from doing that to barely getting out the bed, forgetting how to tie my shoes. They had to like literally teach me how to tie my shoes again. And so I was in that rehab for like a week. And then I finally came out. But then I spent like 2 weeks when I was at the house just having to do exercises and recover and try to get better. You know what I'm saying? So it's been about a month now since I was there, but it was crazy. Like I had a lot of time to myself and, you know, man, I had a lot of people that showed love to me, that was praying for me. It was incredible. But, you know, I also had a lot of hate. Like I had a lot of people saying negative things about me and talking bad about my family. And I don't know, I'm still kind of recovering. I'm not even going to lie to you. Like it changed me because my mind, I just don't see people the same way I used to see them. I used to be so trusting, so open. And after that whole experience, it just changed me. I think the big thing that God was trying to get to me was, Moses, you're trying to control too much of your life. You are not in control. You're just not in control. And that was what I felt like God wanted me to learn from this experience, was like to quit trying to control my life and just give it to him and let him handle my business. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm doing a lot better now. You know what I'm saying? I did my first show since I came back from the hospital. My lungs held up. I didn't run out of breath. You know, my voice was still a little out of there. You could kind of hear my voice a little crackly a little bit. But other than that, I'm a lot better.
Wow. Listen, I'm so glad that you made it through that, you know, to tell the story.
Yeah.
COVID is no joke. And your story is definitely one of the more extreme cases. I had it also, blessed enough not to have to go to the hospital. So when I hear stories like yours, you know, I'm like, wow, I couldn't even imagine, you know,
That's
what
crazy.
that would be like. So
how was it for you? What happened?
For me, it's funny because in the beginning it was kind of similar. I went to an event, probably shouldn't have been there, but I went. And a few days later, I started kind of just feeling like a scratchy throat and little runny nose. And I'm like, I've had sinuses before. So that was my first thought. So I went to see a doctor. She told me the same thing. She said, girl, you probably got some sinuses going on. You're fine. Blah, blah, blah. So a few days go by and I started feeling really, really bad. Like, I'm like, no, something's not right. Like, obviously I'm sick. So I couldn't, this was kind of at the peak of it. So I couldn't even find a rapid test anywhere within like 50 miles or so. I couldn't even find a rapid test at first.
Wow.
So I wound up finding a doctor that comes to you to do the test. And so, but I was impatient. They couldn't come the same day. It was like the next day. So I was impatient. I went to CVS. I got my own over-the-counter test. Came back positive. And I'm like, well, on the back of this test, it only says 80% accuracy. So maybe it's inaccurate. I'll wait till the doctor comes and then I'll go from there. Doctor comes the next day. They give me a test and it was positive. So for me, I immediately just went into quarantine. I didn't really, I was like short of breath and I had like fever and chills and night sweats and couldn't taste for probably a month or so. Couldn't taste any of my food. So it was definitely an experience, but you know, grateful that I didn't have to go in the hospital. So I'm like, you know, talking to people that caught COVID, I'm like, it's like a special bond that we all have.
For real though. Yeah.
It's a special bond because so many people don't take it seriously. You know, it's become political, and you know, we've been around long enough. We've been sick a couple of times. We all have had a cold or a flu or something.
Yeah.
That's nothing like anything any of us have ever had, and that's what I keep telling people. It's nothing like anything you've ever had.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy. That's crazy. So how long was you down for?
So I was in quarantine for maybe 10 to 12 days. And then after that, it took me about a month or so to get my taste back. So I was a little lethargic. Sometimes I still feel like I have the brain fog. So I hope I don't have long COVID. But the brain fog is a thing that I still experience sometimes myself.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the main thing. The fog is like was real. I can't count how many times I drove. I mean, I've driven past exits before to get where I'm trying to get somewhere, but like I just kept driving the other day. I was like, man, and I wasn't distracted. I was holding on to the wheel. I wasn't texting. Like, man, my brain's out of there, man. It's been crazy. Yeah. So I really relate to that.
Yeah, but it's good. I'm glad to see you back. I checked out your page. I seen you performing. The kids was hyped. So it's good to see you back in your element, doing your thing. And I know you have some dope things planned. I want to tap into that too. So I also hear, y'all know I got all the tea, right? So I also hear that you're starting a church, a new church. Is this true? Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So this was a crazy situation. This was nothing I anticipated I was doing. I was working in a church for like 5 years and just carrying and shaping the culture in the lives of children and families. And the leadership of the church said that, you know, I got the chops to start my own thing. And, you know, I had a hard time believing I was capable, but for the last year, we started this process at the beginning of 2021. So coming on December, it'll be a year. And it's been an incredible, challenging process. I've learned so much from it. But the name of the church is going to be called Vine of Life. And our church website is vineoflife.org if you want to go check it out. We have a few things on there, got pictures of our team. But our mission, what we're trying to accomplish with this church is only two things. If we can do these two things, then our church is really moving into its, you know, actual purpose. Like it's operating in the lane that it should be, which is we want to grow people, build people, encourage people in the ways of Jesus. And what I mean by that is we want people to find that Jesus isn't just this white person thing, or it isn't just an American thing. It isn't even a Hebrew thing. Like Jesus is God, and there's a way he lives that he invites us into. And that and if we live in that, there's beauty there, there's love, there's encouragement, there's peace. There's so much value when you learn his ways. And so that's the first thing, is that we're going to help people learn the ways of God and not get caught up in all the political semantics that wrap around God. The other thing is we want to help people find their purpose. And our declaration is that we believe that that every single human being that exists on the planet has a reason for which they are alive. And we want to encourage people and help them find what that reason is. And so, and then the hope is to send them into that reason, into that purpose, into that thing they're called to. So for example, we may find a kid who says, man, I feel like I'm called to be a doctor. I feel like I'm supposed to be a doctor. I would hope that our church can be able to say, bet, we're going to put $20,000 behind your school fees because we believe in you and we believe that this is your purpose. Or somebody may say, man, I feel called to start a beauty school and I want to help people learn how to do people's hair and encourage them. We want to say, bet, we're going to throw $7,000 to get behind what you believe is your purpose. And I want our church to exist in that kind of space where we help people find who they are in God and then send them out there to be what they're supposed to be.
Okay, that's beautiful. Vine of Life. I'm here for it. So
Yeah,
y'all definitely
yeah,
tap in. Okay, make sure y'all go check out the website.
yeah,
Check out all the updates that's gonna be coming. I'm gonna be looking out. If you
yeah,
guys have an event or a grand opening, let your girl know. I'll come out and
yeah,
support.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
So listen, Moses, it has been such a pleasure having you on the show today. I loved
yeah,
hearing your journey, your story,
yeah,
beautiful story. So we're definitely going to be keeping up with you and all the things
yeah,
that you do. But we want to also check out the music and make sure
yeah.
we following you on social media. So please tell us where we can find all your music, your social media, your YouTube, all of that, so we can keep up with your vibe.
Yeah, so all you got to do is go to mosesuvere.com. It's got everything on there. You'll be able to find my socials. You'll be able to find my music. We got merch on there too. So if you want to buy some merch and support what we're doing, you can find it over there at mosesuvere.com. My last name spelled Uvere, and then Moses, and you'll find it.